learning Pardes, and with God's help we will go further in Pardes. I just want to clarify something that just became clear to me. If you go back, and what we're dealing with here is the actual stance of the positioning of the Kruvim. And once again, by Bezalel, let's talk about the Mishkan and the Aron and the Midbar, it's absolutely clear that the Kruvim, the way Bezalel placed them, was Ish Alachiv. So Ish Alachiv, as I pointed out yesterday, is an interesting lashon because Chazal make this big drush about Ish Alishtai, what's the Ish Alachiv. But put that aside for a second. They were facing each other. That's the main point. They were actually facing each other. By Shlomo HaMelech, the Gemara tells us in Yuma Nun Daled that they were not facing each other. The Gemara says, how could it be they weren't facing each other? It says Pnei Mel Aboyis, it says in Divrei Yamin, but they were both facing. So like imagine husband and wife or two other loving creatures that are sitting together, not facing each other, but looking at a beautiful sunset or something. So they pneim el habayis. So it's a sort of, in my mind and my heart, it's a sort of a different type of an intimacy, if you will, where we're envisioning the future together. We're looking at our children. We're looking at this case at the bayis. We're looking at the shechina of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, pneim el habayis. It's a different type of a thing than Pnei Mishalachim. Probably different age. Like they're envisioning like something out there, you know. But it's not the same as it was by Bezalel, where it was Ish Alachim. By the way, on that pasuk of Ish Alachim, so I happen to see quoted that the Zohar says, Ish Alachim peh el peh. I don't want to get too, but it's just so interesting. Like it's not even Ish Alachim, and it's not even like I keep on saying like looking each other in the eyes. It's like even more romantic than that. Like Ish Alachim was the relationship between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael. So the Zohar Ish Alachim on that pasuk peh el peh was exactly the lashon of the Zohar. So the Gemara says in Yuma. The Gemara says that, and you know, like it's a bad habit. I think that many of us have for Yeshiva that quotes a pasuk. You know, necessarily look up the pasuk. You know, like it's just a bad habit. So like, there's nothing to justify that. But you know, okay, we're learning Gemara, we're not learning Psukim. But the whole thing is based on the Psukim. So there, the Gemara says that the Rabbi Bar Shiloi said a drasha. And asked the kasha actually, like how could it be that in the Mishkan of Shlomo, the Mishkan of Bezalel, it was Ish Alachiv, and in the Mishkan of Shlomo it was Pnei Mel Habayis. So he answers that Kad Kish Oisin Ritzoyne Shamakim, Kad Kish Ein Oisin Ritzoyne Shamakim. How they actually were put, the Gemara says, if I'm understanding it correctly, was studei at studei. They were sort of about us partially facing each other and partially facing the bayis. So here we have like a new madrega, as I keep on pointing out. It's not like Ish Alachiv or Peh Peh or Ayin Ba'ayin, but it's also not just Pnei Mel Habayis. So it's kind of like this middle-aged thing, like studei at studei. Like we're looking at each other, but we're looking at the future at the same time. The Rashbam in his Gaonus says, Kimedaber Ish Ibrayehu. You're talking to your good friend. You're not ayin ba'ayin pel peh, you know, but you're also not staring away from each other either, you know. So it's studei at studei. It's up nishtaher or both ahil elaher, if you will, and it's studei at studei. It's on that kind of a slant. But when what's the pshat? So Rabbi Bar Shiloi says a drasha that it actually changed. It miraculously changed. Positions, he says, this is a chiddush, Rabbi Bar Shiloi, that it actually changed that kishoyser ritzoyne shalbakai So they actually they faced each other. It never went completely away like Kollel Bais, but it was Sedudei Atzdudei. That's what the Gemara seems to say. That's a drasha. The Tanakh doesn't say anything about Oisin Ritzoyei Shamakim, but he says that this is the difference.
I thought Sedudei Atzdudei was the position that he originally put it in.
Right, he put it in. So then the kasha becomes, why would he put it lechatchila in a position?
Right, I would think he's either Tnei Bais or Yishalachim.
Right. Why would he look? So one answer to that is, why would he lechatchila put it in a position of Sedudei Atzdudei? So there's two truths to that. One is that's the way the Gemara is v'yashiv the stira, but that doesn't really answer the kasha, right? It doesn't really answer the kasha. Or the deeper answer to this we spoke about is that once we came into Eretz Yisrael from the Midbar, we were in a different situation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not a better one, not a worse one necessarily, different madrega. When we were in the Midbar, so and as he's going to say here in Parak Tes, we were oichlei aban. Everything we were spoon-fed from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The man came from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Our clothing was cleaned by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And even Torah came, and all came from HaKadosh Baruch Hu directly. But that was in the Midbar. In Eretz Yisrael, so we had to work more for our ruchnius and our gashmius. That's talking about an Eretz Yisrael, right? That's the version of the pasuk there. In creation, it's talking about an Eretz Yisrael. Over there, you have to work more. Why should you have to work more in Eretz Yisrael? Because Eretz Yisrael, the way it's understood, is more of it's coming to the same place, but it's coming through our work. It's a
partnership.
Right. So we're doing something more in the world. So you could say it's a lower madrega because we weren't oichlei haban, but it's a higher madrega because whatever we were, we got there ourselves. Like like the kid who works himself up in the company doesn't just get it because his father's the boss. Like it's the Isarusa de Lasata of Eretz Yisrael, and the Meraglim, I keep mentioning, were uncomfortable with that situation. In other words, they like the idea of the midbar. That was like spoon-fed. Like everybody wants to be a baby, and, have somebody feed you and somebody clothes you and change you. That's a nice situation. But it's not. It's only before you can actually accomplish anything.
It's not mature
in life. It's not just so mature. You're not really accomplishing anything. You're just existing, and you're cute, and everybody takes care of you. That's all. It's the chain of the child, which takes you take care of you. But nobody wants to be in that situation when they're 21 years old. You go to a nursing home. I mean, that's a nebuch situation. It's a nice situation when you're a baby because there's no expectation. And and we wouldn't even do it for babies, as the Gemara says, except for that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave babies a beautiful chain. They're very cute, so you can't resist. So you change them. Like it's not necessarily cute to anybody else, just to parents. There's a certain chain there. Okay, so there's so many factors here of the kruvim in the Mishkan, the kruvim in the Mikdash of Shlomo, and how we end up with all this is that the kruvim by Shlomo, according to the Gemara, even though it says in Divrei HaYom, let me say it again, even though it says it physically, now we're talking about nothing spiritual here. Physically speaking, even though it says in Divrei HaYom, where it's describing the Beis HaMikdash, it says Pneim El HaBayis. It can't be, says the Gemara, that it was Mavish Pneim El HaBayis, because then he was going against the Torah, which says Ish Al Hachiv. So the Gemara says Sedudei Atzdudei, which I'm saying on a deeper level represents the fact that it's Sedudei Atzdudei, but we need to do the Ritzoyei Shamakim in order to get them turned towards each other. They're not automatically turned towards each other.
That's the default. Sedudei Atzdudei is the default.
So the reason why Shlomo Melech would set it up in a sort of a b'diavad ofen is because we start off in a b'diavad ofen. In other words, when we're babies, we start off in a b'diavad ofen. It's not. It's an important thing to understand that, like the Gemara says, the Lashon above us rather, Shaar ben Yoimoy nikra Shaar. A Shaar doesn't. Nobody's changing his diapers. Nobody. It's. You ever used to when I was a kid? I was a mashgiach for Kollel Bais Yisrael. You watch a cow be born. It's a pelvic thing. Like the cow is born. They don't give it like a patch on the backside. It's born. It sits there for about 2 minutes, and then it runs. It runs so fast because it's a little heifer that they can't even catch up with it. It's like a big deal. Like the thing just runs. Like so far superior to a human being. It's an unbelievable thing. It runs. It eats by itself. It also nurses for itself. That's what milk is all about, obviously. But it can eat. It runs. It's like a mind of its own. A short. So that's what the Gemara means. It says Shaar ben yoimai nikra Shaar. It doesn't need a bris milah. It doesn't need to be taken care of. But like, so what's the omek of a human being less than a heifer? And the answer is because a human being has to make himself. It's an avoda. That's ki'ilu like HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a Shaar. Doesn't need to develop? You need cows in the world. So Hashem made a cow. It's not. But people. It's not that Hashem needed people in the world made people. Then we would be robots. He needed people to make themselves into great people. That's what he needed, and that requires a whole maturation process and a whole process of growth in the right way. It requires chinuch. It requires spiritual changes that you make, and physical changes you make in the child, like bris milah, and it requires putting on tefillin. It's a whole different thing. Like you can't compare a Shaar ben yoimai shenikra Shaar to a human being. Right? Now here's is it Darren?
So the setup of the kruvim were a musa to the Am. The Am had to know where the kruvim were facing at any one time.
For sure.
There was the avoid of the kohen to tell them. How did they know?
Because on Shalosh Regalim they opened the parochas.
And they could see.
But again, Rebbe, if I may for a second, going back to the idea that from my perspective, this could not be Machshavas Shlomo, it has to be Vayas Cain. Because if not for this, the Kruvim, as with Betzalel, would be Avodah Zorah. Kruvim aren't a Masei Adam, they were dictated by HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
In the Mishkan.
So taught me, and by Shlomo, not so.
He made, look, Shlomo Melech made lots of innovations, and lots of changes. I mean, you would have thought, if I'd be Shlomo Melech, I would say, okay, here we are in Eretz Yisrael, and I'm going to build a thing, so maybe I'd build a big building like a Beis HaMikdash, but I would be very medayik to do a replica of the Mishkan. And Babish didn't do that. I give you an example. I mean, the Mishkan had one menorah, Shlomo Melech had 13 menorahs. The Mishkan had one kiyar, and the Beis HaMikdash there was the Yam Shel Shlomo. The Yam Shel Shlomo, I think there was 6. And we're just 6. They didn't look anything like the ones of the Chumash. The 6, which I want to speak about now for a minute, the 6 that he had were like the coolest sculptures. They were big, gigantic 6, like basins, and underneath it were graven. Is that the right word? Engraved. Carved, sculptured oxen carrying it. Some say it looked like the Meiser Merkava in a certain way. And it had wheels, and it was like a whole thing. And there was it had water coming out of it all the time. The Mefarshim even go so far to say, I saw the Ramban. He said that the Shlomo, it wasn't even necessarily Ruach HaKodesh. I'm trying to get the nicer. It wasn't even necessarily. It was Shlomo Melech, like lights. He had a lot of menorahs. I'll tell you what I think now that Shlomo Melech made all these innovations. This is not for me to paskin, Mashiach has to come and tell us. But I think when we build the Bayis Shlishi in Yerushalayim, B'meher V'yameinu, as I pointed out many times, which we could do halachically today, I think we're Rav Yisrael Alad Basa, and we have the territory. It's just politics and the Arabs that we're not building, which is important. But I'm not recommending anybody goes there with a hammer today. But I mean, theoretically, I don't know that it's going to have like the big stones like you have by the Kaisel. I think it's going to be like thermal glass and like why should you have to sculpture the stone in a way that the light goes from the outside? Is that when you have bank glass and things like that, where you could, there's so many things that you could do, Wi-Fi.
Innovation.
Why should like the Carbon Pesach, you could so automate so many different things that the Kohanim were doing. Like probably it'll be like, it'll look more lahavdil like the New World Trade Center, that it'll look like the pictures of the Beis HaMikdash. I don't see why not, even though Binyan Beis HaBechira tells us measurements, It doesn't tell us necessarily, some things are not changeable, obviously, but some things are. And in terms of the technology, Shlomo HaMelech used the technology that was available to him at his time, and more, using worms and things like that to cut, using the shabir. And we could use diamond saws.
Or
I mean, we could really do stuff.
Or lasers.
Lasers, for sure. For sure. Like
But that still doesn't answer the question of the kruvim, though. Kruvim is like an idol. I mean, it looks,
that is a question on the kruvim. Like look, the fact that there were kruvim is already, we had the model from the Mishkan. I was going to say, if you go to the architect of this project, who showed it to me to give you a tour, but if you look at the, I think it's the main office of the Misrad HaChinuch in Yerushalayim, which is right across from the Ramada Hotel off the Begin. There's like this government building, so there's a Misrad HaChinuch over there. The entranceway is made out of this black stone. The foyer, it's this black stone. This stone was this architect, my friend Bradsher, was the architect of that. He found this. This is a particular stone which you could only mine in Africa, and it's a very rare stone. They decided to make this out of it. The stone is probably, I would say, about 12 inches thick. That's how thick, and light goes through it. It's not glass, it's stone. Crystal's also stone, I think, but I don't know what crystal is, but this is stone. I mean, this is stone. You take a hammer and you bang it, and it's stone. It's not glass, but light goes through it, and it's an unbelievable thing because if you'll drive by there at night, so it's worth doing if you're in Yerushalayim. So they have the lights on inside, and the light, it's like this glow that comes out of it, which is the light outside shining through these stones. And if you go in there during the day, the sunlight is shining into it. There's no lights, and you've got this very beautiful sun glow, which is inside. It's the Nefesh Hachaim. I'm not sure what their drush is to chinuch, but there's something. I guess there's something deep there. But I mean, which I was just impressed with the architecture of it. So I'm just saying that today, like you don't have to bring you don't have to bring stones from Givat Zev. Or Rabbi Yaakov, the way Shlomo HaMelech did it, which was a pella to itself, how he did that. But today, you could fly it over on a 747 or bring it by ship and bring it to Yerushalayim, and you could have like some crazy stuff. But okay, so that's neither here nor there. That's my political feeling about the thing. The kruvim, the Gemara says, and this is really the factual point that I wanted to look up the pasuk. The Gemara says that, and I want to see it inside. If you want to see the pasuk is out of the quote in Nefesh Hachaim at the end of Parag Zayin, where he starts talking about the kruvim. The last sentence of the Parag Zayin is "V'hu inyana kruvim shayu ma'urim kemar ish u'levayos." Kemar ish u'levayos. Pneim ish al achiv. It says in Shmos Chavhei Pasuk Chav. So you take here really three things, if you look. So I didn't know, I apologize for my own abaratzos, but I really didn't know what this pasuk meant. I was just going by a fast, Kemar Ishu Lavoyos. And this is the whole drasha of Rabbah. Kemar Ishu Lavoyos, what does it mean? Kemar Ishu Lavoyos. I imagine that it meant that the kruvim were Kemar Ishu Lavoyos. What do you think it means? The word Levaya is familiar. What?
company.
Which word means what? Levaya means a company.
Yeah.
So what? Kima'ar ish. That's the clear word here.
As a man's life.
No, with an ayin. Ayin resh.
To be entangled.
Ma'urim.
Right.
So Kima'ar ish, and what does V'Levayos mean? And his accompaniment.
And his fellow company.
Right. So first of all, okay, fair enough. So I made the same lady. First of all, here's the pasuk. The pasuk is, he quotes it here, Balachat Aleph Parak Zayin pasuk Lamed Vav. The pasuk is, well, let's put it this way. The whole 10 psukim here are talking about the design of the sinks. This is the design of the Yam Shel Shlomo. It's not talking about the Aron altogether. It's not talking about the Kruvim altogether. Look inside. It's not talking about any of that. And here it says that when he made the sinks, he made arba oifane nechoshas la mechoina. He made 4 wheels made out of nechoshas, made out of copper, on this mechona, on this thing, on the sink. And the way he did it was,
Mechona means what?
mechona means the mechanism.
Mechanism, not like.
No, not
to be
machon.
placed.
Machon is a mechanism, same word, machine. Machon, machine. So it says here, Tanakh, mitachas la'kiyar, underneath the sink, haksefos yitzukos, the kind of like, it had like shoulders coming out of the sink. Me'aver ish loyos. So first of all, the word is not levoyos, it's loyos. Lamed, yud, vav, tav. Loyos. That's what it says in Tanakh. Later on in the pasuk that he's quoting, it says, Vayifatach al haluchos, I'll read to you, and he engraved upon the tablets. These are not tablets, there's nothing to do with the luchos. There's nothing to do with the luchos, abris. This has to do with the fact that the sink was round, as sinks tend to be, and on the outside of the sink, there were luchos. There were tablets, like pieces of shayish, that went on. Very, very straight, and those were called the luchos. And they went straight this way, this way, this way. They made a square around the sink. So you had a round, similar to the way we make a cabinet, right? You have a round sink and a square box, and those things are called the luchos. And on those luchos, it says in Tanakh, and this is the pasuk which we're bringing over here, Vayifatach ala luchos. This has nothing to do with the art. Just yidos seha. He made on it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll read you in English. And he engraved upon the luchos tablets, upon its rods and upon its frames. Vayifatach al luchos yidos seha umiskirois seha keruvim aroyos v'simrais. He engraved on those pieces of shayish, or whatever they were, he engraved pictures of kruvim, of aroyos, lions. We don't have them here, but that's why you have lions on paroches. The simrais, and palm trees. That's why you see palm trees on Aron Kodeshes a lot. These are the 3 images that belong on I guess if you want to mimic this, these are the 3 images that you'll often see. I don't know if they belong or not, but you'll often see on a parochis, or maybe it'd be better, like if we're designing a new Aron Kodesh, to design it right on the Aron Kodesh, like why, or better on the sink, because this is where all this was. So he engraved, Shlomo Melech engraved Vayifatach, he engraved al haluchos on these tablets, Yedoiseha on its yodos and on its miskares. So there was also the things that you carried it and moved it around with. He engraved it there also. A lot of pictures of kruvim, aroyos, v'simrais, kimar ish v'loyos saviv. That's the pasuk. Kimar ish saviv, which is translated here in the Art Scroll. They were, and he engraved upon the tablets, upon its rods, upon its frames, cheruvim, lions and palms, all braced firmly round about. That's all.
Not intermingled, though, each one.
That's what I'm just Art Scroll. All braced firmly round about. Because the word is not levoyos. The word is loyos. And loyos, loyos, by the way, I saw in the Losana Rav Kook Tanakh, looking at it this morning, is only found here. This word does not appear anywhere else, in case you're wondering why you don't know it. But, so loyos means that which, like a parapet, like that which goes all the way around. So the luchos went all the way around, luchos. So again, what does this have to do with... what does this have to do with anything?
So what's the end of the pasuk here? That's what the...
No, that's a different pasuk in Divrei Hayam. I'm reading from Malachim.
In my Nefesh Hachaim, it's quoting this pasuk as Malachim Zayin. The whole pasuk.
Wrong.
That's one of the first Kemar.
Yeah. Kemar ish v'loyos. It says in Malachim Aleph. Pnei Mishal Achiv. It says in Shemos. Ubekruve shloimei ksiv. You don't have it? Ubekruve shloimei ksiv. In mine it says Divrei Hayamim. Beis. Upneihem labayis.
Pnei Mishal, that's in Shmos?
In Shemos.
It's not the end of that pasuk.
No. No, here, the closest you're going to get to it is Kimar Ish V'lo Yos. This, so I just, it's important to me, yes, it's important to me that we're not Amaratzim. like look up the pasuk, changes everything. I mean, just changes the technology, and I believe it changes the understanding of it also. It got to be, enough with the ignorance already. So Kimar Ish V'lo, somebody told me a couple days ago, a Chiddush, he says, he researched this, and he found out that Gedolim actually learned Tanakh. We got to kick out of it. Gedolim. Okay, so what's big Gedolim? So either you got to be a Gadol or you got to be a Maskil. Anybody in between is not allowed to learn Tanakh.
There's a misprint.
Huh?
Yeah, so it's this.
What?
It's quite a big misprint in Nefesh Hachaim. Because it quotes that whole
In your Nefesh Hachaim, mine it says it right.
Yeah, this one.
It says it's all from, no, so it's not. It
Yeah.
doesn't say anything about, so make a note with your pen. It doesn't say anything about it here.
We have really 3 psukim looks like too.
It's 3 psukim. Right, so this is very important. There's a pasuk in Shemos, there's a pasuk in Malachim, and there's a pasuk in Divrei Hayomim, and the pasuk in Malachim has nothing to do with the situation here. It has to, except for the fact that he made pictures of Kruvim. That's all. But it doesn't.
Is Kruvim?
What?
Kamay Rish means what? What does it mean now? Let's clarify.
The what?
Kamay Rish, what does that mean?
Kamar Ishul Viloyasai. No, but it says that he made Kruvim. You don't need that pasuk. He made.
What does the word mean?
All braced firmly round about. I'm not sure what that means. but apparently these were heavy luchos, and they went around the whole kiyar, so they have to be screwed in firmly. I mean, you're a technical guy. They have to be screwed in properly, firmly, otherwise they're going to fall on the Kohen's feet or something. So they had to be screwed in firmly. And they were designed. They had a decoration on it. What was on the decoration? The Kruvim.
The supporting a crazy mass.
Yes, it was extremely heavy. And then, somehow they didn't have the glues, I presume they didn't have the glue and stuff that we have.
They didn't have welders.
Welders, so however they did it, but they supported it firmly. But the ikar is that there was a picture on it of Kruvim, that's all. Now this is the way this works. So you start from Tanakh, let's work. You start from Chumash, we have Shmos. Then go on to Malachim. So let's learn Zilberman's style. And now comes Rabbah, generations later, and he says, what in the world is loyos? a word that we're not familiar with. So he says, saying this my language, not his, Al tikra loyos elo levoyos.
Doesn't fit the pshat of the pasuk.
No. So he's saying a drasha in the pasuk. He's saying a drasha in the pasuk that the reason why the pasuk used this lashon is a drasha. Kibar, like you said, ma'urim. I'm not sure where that word comes from either, but let's say ma'urim. Ish, and don't read it levoyos because it doesn't say levoyos. It's loyos, but loyos means firmly placed roundabout. Loy, whatever that word means, loya. Not sure what the root is. But the drasha on it is ad avav, and that's the way it's quoted in the Nefesh Hachaim of levoyos. That already means a melaveh, and you find in a lot of Chazal that levoyos specifically refers to a wife, but it could also refer to a friend. And it could also refer to a lot of whoever is correct to be with you at that time, whoever your malava ish, right? So Eishel Avram. So Avram Avinu was a levaya. You go to a levaya, right? So achila shtia levia. It doesn't mean achila shtia levia like everybody. Achila shtia levia. Eishel Avram. He walked everyone to the door. You go to a levaya, you're accompanying it. You're not necessarily a wife. You're not necessarily a rebbe. You're not necessarily a friend. You're just going to a levaya, right? And over here, levayos, he's learning that they were hugging. So if they were hugging, so probably if they were embraced one or the other, so they're probably husband and wife. So this is a drasha of Rabbah bar Shila. That's all. That's true. I just wanted to clarify this. Okay. So now that we're Talmidei Chacham, Kemar Ish, so we're talking all of this about his drasha, and yet, so this is Nefesh Hachaim's question. But look further, and that's why you need to fix your Nefesh Hachaim. But in Divrei Hayomim it says, Neim Alabayis. So what's the pshat? So what's the kasha of Neim Alabayis? Two kashas. First kasha is it's different than Betzalel. That's a good kasha. The second kasha is that's not Rabba's drasha. Rabba's drasha is that they were also Chazal say.
It's a question on the drasha, not on the.
Right, but also Chazal say that on Shalosh Regalim, when they opened up the Pareiches, they found the Kruvim Ma'urim Zaim Zeh. And also Chazal say, it does say that, and also Chazal's B'Chazal. It's all Chazal. And it doesn't say Tanakh, it's Chazal. Also Chazal say, as I pointed out a couple weeks ago, that when Ammon and Moav invaded invaded the Kodesh HaKadoshim, at one point they got their way through. And they paraded the streets with the Kruvim. They were Ma'urim Matzas HaKruvim Ma'urim Zem Zem. We say this in Kinos, in the first Kina on Tisha B'Av morning. We found it, and they said, K'maisa Rayas. It's a Maisa Rayas. But, okay, so you said again was Ma'urim Zem Zem, on which there's all kinds of Torahs. Why were they Ma'urim Zem Zem? When we were not doing Ritzonah Shabbatim. But it's a bit confusing, and I hope I'm not making it more confusing, but it's worth it to be honest.
Can't Ma'urim mean they just put one arm?
So the Zohar says Ma'urim Zem Zem Yadim Yad. Yadim Yad, they were holding hands. So there's no clarity at all as to what was going on in the Mishkan Shlomo, in the Mikdash Shlomo, except for, and here's the way I think we have to learn this, that he drew Kruvim on the sink. Probably he drew the Kruvim like the Kruvim looked. Now we have a question, how did he draw the Kruvim? The question is, how did he draw the Kruvim? So he must have drawn them, they must have been a mirror image of how the Kruvim actually looked. Which Kruvim?
His Kruvim.
His Kruvim. Now, I'll tell you something else while we're here. He had two Kruvim. And that was Shlomo Melech's innovation. He had the Kruvim that were on top of the Aron, and he had two big Kruvim in the corner. It says before, Tanakh. And two Kruvim in the corner, and they were not made out of gold. Two big Kruvim in the corner.
You mean like in the entrance, like the Eichel?
Yes, by the beginning of the Kodesh Kadosh.
That's the ones they saw when they opened the.
That's the ones they saw because the Aron was over to the side. If you've seen the diagram, the floor plan, the Aron was over to the side. So the Parochas are over here. So if you open the Parochas, you don't see the Kruvim anyway. So what was the point of opening the Parochas? So everyone could see the Kruvim because of the Kruvim. The answer is he had another set of Kruvim, and those are probably the ones that had all the miracles of turning, not the ones that were on the Aron. Those Kruvim, by the way, that's what you have to say. Those Kruvim, he never changed from what Shlomo HaMelech did. I'm saying here. The Kruvim on the Aron were the Kruvim on the Aron, and it looked the same. And it might have been probably the same Aron.
It's the same
As Betzalel.
As Betzalel, it was the same Aron about Babito. So we said I was doing theorizing, as historians do and are completely wrong. I was theorizing, well, the Aron lasted, but maybe the Kruvim didn't last. But the Aron and the Kruvim were mikshachas. They lasted all the way until 22 years before this Charbon. Here we're talking about the beginning of Shlomo HaMelech, where Yoshio hid the Aron. That's where those they were there, and those Kruvim were never touched. You with me? I wish I had a blackboard to show this, but I'm sure everybody
How did
So, but then he made Shlomo HaMelech. Shlomo HaMelech made two Kruvim, big Kruvim, and by the way, if you look at the Malachim, they were not made out of gold, they were made out of olive wood. Eitz Shemen. That's olive wood. Mitzupim Bezav. They were gold plated. There's like a lot of gold. I mean, this was man size.
It's interesting that his innovation was the ones that the nest took place on.
That's right. That's right.
And they were placed where? I don't understand.
I think they were placed. I looked at the Aruch HaShulchan Asid. You familiar? The Aruch HaShulchan Asid. Aruch HaShulchan Asid. You do. So there he has a section on what the Mikdash, what the floor plan was with Shlomo HaMelech, which is a little bit different than what you find in the typical Mishnayos, Tiferes Yisrael Mishnayos. But over there, the way he has it is that when they opened the Parochas to the Kodesh HaKadoshim, so when they opened up the Parochas, you were able to see the Kruvim. And these were the different Kruvim, which were like as soon as you walked in, or as soon as you didn't walk in, but you could see them right away. Those were two man-sized olive wood Kruvim which were Mitzupa B'Zav.
So Michigan does no such thing.
No such thing as the Mishkan. Mishkan was portable. And the Mishkan didn't have it.
So
So now, look, so first of all, like the kasha we asked at the beginning, or you asked at the beginning, what did he change? Like, who gave him the right to change? That was your kasha, right? So that teretz is just, if you don't know, the answer is he didn't change anything. He added 2 kruvim, and clearly he added 2 kruvim. And here's where he was sedudei at sedudei.
It's also a pretty big change.
To add,
Sure.
sure, I'll tell you. Yeah, it's a pellet. It needs an iyun unto itself. There are people ask so many doctors, they think this is like huge, but he changed everything. I mean, he was making. Apparently, he learned pshat in. Look, there's a lot of things like if you read Tanakh, which are a little bit strange, or halach, but he used the concepts of Betzalel. Didn't change he wasn't going to tamper. It wasn't going to tamper with the Aron itself. So here we have this symbolism of sedudei at sedudei. So now we have a picture clear. It's about a time. So just suffice it today to say, and then we'll learn it ba'omek from there on that Shlomo HaMelech's kruvim, not the kruvim that were on there. Shlomo HaMelech's kruvim is the subject of the Gemara in Yuma Nun Daled, and the subject of the drasha of Rabbi Bar Shila. And how did he draw it? It's not clear to me now. I just say, how did he engrave it on the luchos itself? So he probably engraved a picture of Betzalel's, and that's why he did it. Kamari Isha Levayos. Because he was drawing. He was reminding us. Why would he make a picture of what's standing right there? So he was making a picture of how it is on the Aron. That's how it was. How the original place looked. And then, besides for that, there was another one, which was all kinds of fancy things happening with it. Stodei on Stodei, Pnei Malabayis, Pnei Mishalachim, Ma'urim Zem Zeh. Okay, and this is all the drasha of Rabbi Bar Shiloi on this one pasuk, which really has nothing to do with it, of an engraving on the sink. But probably if he engraved it like that on the sink, says Rabbi, probably that's how it was in real life also. That's the technology of the floor plan.
If the nace applied to those 2 big ones, obviously Hashem approved it.
Yes, okay, I guess.
But how do you know
That's a good start. Although, I don't know. I mean, a miracle, you're not allowed to say a miracle is a right to change the Torah.
No.
But, I would say a simpler teretz that it doesn't say, yes, Vayas Kein Aron, and Betzalel did, but Betzalel was also Mechadish. Moshe Rabbeinu told him one way, and he did a different way. And Moshe Rabbeinu gave Haskam, okay, B'tzel Kel. So he himself was Machadesh in it. And the Gemara says, L'chol Chacham Leiv Nasati Chachma. So apparently there was innovation here. Even so it could be that Shlomo HaMelech learned from Betzalel that we're permitted some creativity here. We're permitted to do something. And that's why I'm saying Mashiach will be permitted his creativity in the Bayis Shlishi. It's not so pashut that it has to be the way it
Has
is.
he not moved via a miracle?
What?
Did Shlomo's move via a miracle?
Yeah, I believe they did. I believe those were the ones that were moving around. That's what the Aruch HaShulchan says. The Aruch HaShulchan says nothing happened on top of the Aruch. Top of the Aruch was fixed. There was all these other kruvim on the side, which were, by the way, big, big wings.
Wait, kruvim means a human or an angel?
What do they look like?
The word kruv.
Oh, means something with wings. That's what it Yeah, because earlier in Malachim Aleph, he talks about that he made pictures of bakar in kruvim. Bakar in kruvim. He made, the cows also had wings. So it's not an angel. Something with a wing is called a cherub. Which is where, of course, the Western notion of angels flying around comes from here. Right.